Abdurkala Namasa, Ubazun Emakasamu, Empa'at. Begin all prayers and thinking as part of all. Anaki da Kapa Ashak Empa'at. Wu Klawashak Wendako. Anaki Kasamu Nafaf Pa'at. Wu Pa'at Kawen Kasamu Nafaf Ni. Anaki Wahu. Emma Pa'at. U Pa'at Kawen Wahu Emani. Nuk Kador Naju. Emma Kasamu Nafaf Pa'at. Awu Khabut Emma Shakasun. Nuk Kadur Kawun, Kalapa Faf, Nukragub, the Kalpa, Talama, Ragabni, Kawen Lia Bake, the Kalpa, Anaki Abad Binafas, Pakawan, Anaki, Pakadur, Nukadur, Pa'amu, Nukamu, Hu, Pana Thormini, the Shayu, Kawun, Alo Bihu. In English, that is, I am in the love of all. Let me back up. Begin all prayers and thinking as a part of all. I am in the love of all, and all love is in me. I am a part of all, and all is a part of me. I am one as all, and all is one as me. I can succeed as a part of all, or fail as an individual person. I can be all that I wish in all, as long as my wish is to stay in all. I am never alone. All is, I am. All can, I can. All does, I do. Who? The guardian of whom nothing would exist except by way of him. Now, as I do every week, let me go over that particular prayer about the all. Begin all prayers and thinking as a part of the all. I say that, or I should say we say that, so that you establish your mental connection in all. The key to your success, the key to your growth, is being cognizant of your relationship to the all, in the all, which is in all. What do I mean by that? When people get depressed or anxiety or failure or thoughts of failure, it's only because people are starting to think of themselves as an individual, cut off from the rest of everybody and everything else. And then, like an unwatered flower, you start to wilt. Once you put in your mind, I am a part of all, which is true, you are a part of all, and all is in you. There's no part of you that all is not in. And so, the same things that all can do, you can do. It's just your thinking is telling you that you can't do it. A while ago, we talked about how in the old days, the mode of travel was a horse. And then if you were to go to a farmer and talk to them and say what they want, they would say, I want a faster horse. But if you showed up in the Michael J. Fox DeLorean and they saw that flying car, then they would want that flying car. But until they saw it, they didn't know it existed. But it still existed. And so now the farmer says, oh, I want a faster horse. That's only because he's not cognizant of the possibilities of what's out there. Now, let's go with you. There might be something that you want, that you're striving for, that you think is unattainable. As long as you think it's unattainable, it's unattainable. But once you put in your mind that it exists and you can attain it, you're already on the path to attaining it. Now, the key is to stay on that path. Sometimes we get confused about the appearance of reality. If you want $10 million, and then you might get that in your mind, you might see it, yourself getting $10 million, doing whatever you want with the $10 million, and then you open your eyes and look at your bank account and it says minus 20. Then you become deflated. And that's what you cannot let, because that's an illusion. That minus 20 is the illusion. The reality is what's in your mind, because your mind processes what you imagine. So if you got a minus 20 bank account and in your imagine you got 10 million, live as though you have the 10 million, because that's the direction that your mind is going to push you in. That is, and it's going to bring in certain people to help you get there. That's how it works. Abrar's not on here, but me and Abrar used to talk about this all the time at the gym. He's like, man, certain things that he wanted, in, a music studio and this and that. And I would always tell him, bro, keep it in your mind. Don't ever give up. It might look unattainable now, but just go a little bit further. And things begin to open up. And that's how life is. So you've got to take control of your mind and keep the knowledge that you are in all. And everything that all can do, you can do, because you are in all. Every part of your being, if I were to dissect your toe, all is all throughout your toe. You are in all, and all is in you. Anything all can do, you can do. That's why we say, I am, all is, I am. All can, I can. All does, I do. Nothing is impossible. There's no limit to the power of your mind. Questions on that before we begin? Okay.
I'm trying to rephrase my question properly.
Okay.
So, I can envision the all as being, I'm not saying I am, well, I can say that because I am part of all. The all is like an entity like me, and I am the all's thought. You want to know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Can I envision it like that or no?
Oh, I can't say you can or can't envision it like that.
Right.
But I will say, your vision needs work. Now, why do I say your vision needs work? Because you, as you said, you envision the all as some sort of entity.
Yeah.
And you are a blip within that entity. Now, all is not an entity, but all entities are in all. Now, to envision all as an entity means that there are limits, that this entity's leg ends here.
Oh, okay.
This entity's arm ends here. And then, if that's the case, what is all of this stuff over here?
Space.
And all space is in all.
Right.
All has no beginning. All has no ending. And all space is in all. But you are a thought in all.
You're a thought in all?
Yes. Just like if I say Ahmed, envision a person named Tyrone. Now and give him a height, give him a weight. All right, so now you're saying it. All right, you already imagined it.
No, but it was because I watched one of these pranks. There's a character named Tyrone.
All right, and that came into your mind.
Yeah, it came into my
all right, let me. That's
use a different one.
All right, let me use a different one because that's somebody else's creation. All right, let's say envision a person named Ahmed.
I imagined myself for some reason.
All right, because of this relation to Ahmed. Mm-hmm. Right. All right. So let's go with. Hold on 1 second. Let's go with Nkrumah. All right. Now let's give Nkrumah a height. 6'4". A weight. 220.
You're very specific.
Right. All right.
He's a skin dude.
No, he has, like, I don't know, like butt hair, what do they call it? Like, long hair, but like dreads.
All right.
I'm there with you.
Wait. This is Ahmed's Nkrumah.
I know, dude. When you said it, I'm picturing an island guy.
Right. No, that's fine.
You know.
All right. So Ahmed, keep going. All right. Do you have a picture of him?
Yeah.
Okay.
6'4",
now.
220.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So now this picture of Nkrumah is within your mind. Now, if we were to go in your mind and look at this Nkrumah, and we take off his head, it would still be filled with you. There's no part of Nkrumah that is outside of you. But you are infused all within and throughout Nkrumah, because Nkrumah is in you. Now, just as Nkrumah is in you, and you are in Nkrumah, all throughout Nkrumah, you, Ahmed, are also in the all. And the all is all throughout you. There's no part of you that the all's not in.
Right.
So anything that Nkrumah can do, Ahmed can do. Because Ahmed is the one that's envisioning Nkrumah. Anything that the all can do,
I can do.
there we go. Now, that is extremely important that you get the concept first. Think about that as you're sitting in your own thoughts, and then later you'll begin to apply it. And when you start to apply it, locked doors begin to open.
No limit.
Yeah. So when you said that, I thought about it. Efficiency.
Right.
Called battle with
Right.
a character.
Right. So, and I say that to say, son, think bigger, think big.
Okay.
Just as the farmer was looking for a faster horse, he was thinking too small. And so by thinking small, he never realized that the earth has material to fashion a car, or a train, or a plane,
But it
or a
depends on
spaceship.
Okay. But it depends on the time we live. With the materials we have.
Yeah.
You just limited yourself.
No, I know. But if I think big, right? So if we were living
Get rid
in
of
Western
if.
time,
When.
when I live in Western time, I'll think big. I'll say, okay, now we got these materials. I can get instead of having one horse, I get 5, and then I'll start making things instead of like, okay, how I'm going to make metal.
But son, you don't have to think of yourself in the Western time. Think from now. What is it that Son Touch wants, strives for? Right, and it is attainable.
World peace.
Well, you got to go within you.
No, you gotta start with you
You
first.
say let's think big.
Right. Yes.
No, I want inner peace.
Okay. All right. So let's begin. Let's see. We're going to start with scroll 6. All right. So we have scroll 6, the mind, and where you see the word mind, your mind for the jewels of your soul. I think that should be mind, M-I-N-D, as in dig into your mind. Go ahead.
Alright. So all through life, M-I-N-D is this, right? But which one's mine?
Right.
Trying to figure it out
Right.
now.
Yeah. So the English. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. The English language. Let me finish. You gotta finish your thought.
No, because every time I say something, people always go, it's mine, not mine. So which one?
Right.
If I write something down, like
Right. Yeah. So if you're talking about possession, it's mine. M-I-N-E.
in E, okay, E.
Yes.
And then the mine
Is
is D. Okay.
yes. But there's also another definition of M-I-N-E, and that is like if you're digging, mining for gold, to mine.
English language.
And so that's English language. It's very
But it's, so the M-I-N-E it means 2 different things.
That's true. Yes.
What was that word again for it?
Mine.
Mine?
No,
But wouldn't it
Oh,
be,
okay.
wouldn't
You
that
can
be
go.
actual word for like deer. There's like a saying for it.
D?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But wouldn't be the correct term mean mining?
That's mining. Like if you're mining for gold,
Or you
Or-
could mean mining.
or you could say, "I am going to the shaft and I am going to mine for gold."
Yes, so why would have the same word be 2 different things?
Yeah, that's the English
That's
language.
English.
There's also mine, like
I
you
know.
step on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
mine.
Yeah, don't step on that mine or
Was that spelled the same way?
M-I-N-E.
Man, whoever made this
Right. All right. So Sam brings up a good question. The English language is full of these. The English language is like this.
and English.
There was a movie. It's called Mine. Watch it.
Oh, is the
Spell.
The English language is a spell. As we came down from the original languages, like Nuwapic that I just spoke, is rhythmic and vibrational. You'll feel the rhythm, you'll feel the vibration because it's a living language. And that just uttering those words vibrates through chakras. Now, we fell down to English via a spell. And that's why one word can mean the same word can mean multiple things, and the English language is a dead language, meaning it doesn't vibrate. It doesn't vibrate any of your chakras. And so when you get back to Hebrew, Arabic, Nawapic, then you're going back into a vibrational Sanskrit, a vibrational language. English is a dead language. That's why
Like Latin.
it's so like Latin.
Yeah.
That's why it's so confusing. There's so many words that this one word means several different things. And to continue on that, I know we're supposed to get into the mind. The English language, as you know, has 26 letters, but a lot of those letters were brought in from other alphabets. How do you know which ones? When you say A, B, C, let's take C, D would be D-E-E, E-E-E, F. How would you spell F?
E-F-E?
You begin F with an E. So, yes, so it was not, it was brought in from something else. G, E-F, G. How would you spell G?
G-E-E.
All right, G. H.
E. Right? H.
E. Up here, E.
A.
Yeah.
A.
So it was brought in from somewhere else. J.
I.
Or I. J. K. L.
E-L.
L. Yeah. E-L. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brought in from a different language. So English is actually a bastardized language, and it was pulled from other language to make itself. That's why we say it's a spell. Okay.
Why did the language Latin die? Why did Latin die? Oh.
Usage. Yeah. I'm supposed to get into the mind.
Pig Latin
That's a
or
very good
Latin?
question. All right, so he said, why did Latin die? People just stopped using it.
Which one?
Latin.
Is that Pig Latin or was it different?
No, Latin.
No, Latin. Latin is what, like Catholicism, all the mass is done in Latin.
Okay.
But it stopped being a popular language because people stopped using it. Now, on the subject of stop using it, Dr. Urick or Panavat Yanu told us that in the future, humans will not have a pinky. Because now you're on the keyboards, we're losing the usage of our pinky. Just like the usage of your little toe. And anything that you don't use begins to atrophy, and in later generations, it disappears.
Like the tail. Like we used to have tails.
That looks
Tail
weird.
We're never gonna get to the mind skirt.
Right, you're right. That's fine. All right, so look, a couple of things. All right, so Son says it looks weird, and then Ahmed says we should have a tail.
I know we used to have a tail.
Because we have a tail.
We do have a tailbone called the coccyx. Now, did we have a tail? All right, now I got to take you way back.
Oh
Let's
shit.
go back.
Oh shit.
All right, so as you know, the human body is 3/4 water and 1/4 flesh. Now, if I say, all right, class, we're going to have a test, and 75% is going to be on multiplication, and 25% is going to be on addition. What are you going to study most?
Multiplication.
Because 75%. Now, the body is 75% water and 25% flesh. But most people spend time addressing
Flesh. Instead of the water.
We were tadpoles.
instead of the water. So I'm getting to it. Instead of addressing the water, which is 75% of your makeup. This is why I always stress when you're drinking water, when you're in the presence of water, give it the message that you want it to give you. Like if you say pee, no,
That's not water.
That's not water. We're not talking about energy drinks.
That's water.
Yes.
That's caffeine.
$1 million.
Right.
$1 million. 2 million.
Purification.
Yeah.
Love. Joy.
Right.
A higher
That's
being.
true. That's exactly what you do. And then you drink the water. Now, as Psalm was getting to,
And clarity.
the sperm
Yeah, we have tails.
The sperm is a tadpole, which is reptilian. And then when you're in the belly, in your mother's belly, you go through those 3 stages. First stages is this. The next stages,
First trimester.
your first trimester, second trimester, once you're a gray.
Let's try this.
3.
When the baby
First 3 months.
start forming, yeah.
It's the most important part. So it's baby gets alive.
And then you become
You don't see it when they go to the first trimester? They're like wrapped around with big old eyes, ugly.
right.
And they have a little tail.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm saying that's in the way of the board.
Oh, this is trying to capture the board. Let's see. So originally, as a tadpole or a spermatozoa, you had a tail. But then, as you go through these stages of first trimester, second trimester, third trimester birth, that tail drops off. However, there are people today that are still born with a tail. Now, what they won't tell you is most of those people still born with a tail are.
I think they just had a case of that. That's all I'm doing.
Say that again? Yuli?
See, think they just had a case of that.
I think I heard about a case that's wrong.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where we look. You hear it over here, but I'm still here, yeah. All right, so yeah.
Over here.
So there are, I forgot what the percentage is, but a lot of Kakasu, or what they call Caucasians, are still born with a tail. And as soon as they're born, they cut the tail off. So, who asked that question? Was it someone?
You. Oh.
Yeah. People are still.
You asked that.
Oh, you said people are still born with tails.
Oh,
yeah. But the thing.
I'm giving you straight.
Answer the question.
So, the original question, I want to make sure I answered it, was what?
He said
We have tailbones because
we used to have tails.
No, we were talking about water. Why did we get to that?
because
But
our minds.
you said people will concentrate more on the flesh than the water.
Yeah, right. I forgot why I said that.
Because
I forgot why I said that. But,
oh yeah.
all right, so let's begin. Finally. All right, mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. Scroll 6, concentration. I'll read from verse 9. 19 times 3 equals 57. Lo, concentration, my child, is the act or process of concentrating. 2. To concentrate is to focus, center, to bring or direct one's mind toward a common center or objective. 3. Concentration is a very important principle. 4. One that you should practice and try to master. 5. For contrary to the belief that the art of concentration is simple. 6. Efficient concentration is not easily achieved. 7. Your world, O mortal, is the materialization of the thought forms of divine intelligence. 8. It exists as vibration. 9. Just as there are waves of heat, light, electricity, and energy. Stop there. All right, so this scroll is going to talk about the power of concentration. And to concentrate is to focus, to center, to bring your mind to a certain objective. Let's see. Your world is a materialization of thought forms of divine. On number 7, your world, O mortal, is the materialization of the thought forms of divine intelligence. It exists as vibration. Everything vibrates. There is nothing in existence that doesn't vibrate. Now I'm going into what's called the Sacred Wisdom of the Grand Hierophant, Tahuti. In Tahuti's 9 doctrines that governs all life, there's something called the Doctrine of Vibration. Let me get all 9. First, there is 1, the Doctrine of Mental. And 2 is the Doctrine of Correspondence. 3 is the Doctrine of Vibration. 4 is the Doctrine of Rhythm. Polarization. 1, mental, Doctrine of mental, correspondence, vibration. Number 4 is the Doctrine of Polarity. 5 is the Doctrine of Rhythm. 6 is the the Doctrine of Cause and Effect. 7 is the Doctrine of, I think it's gender, or is it growth? I think it's gender. Then it's the Doctrine of Growth and Creation. And the last is the Doctrine of Freedom, the Doctrine of Cause and Effect. Okay, so now we're going to talk about this vibration.
Wait, I have a question. What's correspondence? Like, explain correspondence. Like, I don't understand.
To correspond it has to occur between 2 or more things. It's a comparison. If I say, as above, so below, I'm comparing 2 things. Or if you say this and that, you're corresponding 2 things. Or if I say, when the weather reaches 80 degrees, it always rains. That's a correspondence. You're corresponding 2 things. Now, the Doctrine of Vibration says everything vibrates, nothing rests. No matter, even if it looks like it's still, when you look at those atoms, they're vibrating. And if you break apart the atoms and you look at the quarks, they're vibrating. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Now, this is the key to manifestation. When you want something to manifest, you have to manipulate its vibration. Every thought that you have, as we talked about before, has size, shape, form, color, quality, power. It exists. Every thought that you have. It's very important that you monitor and control your thoughts, because your thoughts vibrate. And other people can feel your thoughts. If you're mad at somebody, you're going to feel that you're mad at them. You're going to say, what's wrong? And then they'll say, nothing. And you already know there's something, and so now you got to walk on eggshells to bring it out. Or if someone likes you, that thought vibrates, and you'll feel it because thoughts vibrate. In the same manner is how you get your life on track in the direction you want it to go. Give yourself a thought and water that thought. That is how it starts to vibrate. When you have done this sufficiently and enough times through practice, that vibration then begins to manifest. It has to, it must. That is the law. That is a universal law. It has to. There's no other choice. As long as you have that thought and you're vibrating, you're watering, and you're feeding that thought, it's growing and vibrating, and it must manifest. There's no other way. What derails people is, and we talked about before, is you have this thought of this $10 million over here, and then you deflate the thought when you look at your minus $20 bank account. You have to teach your mind to live in that vibratory thought.
Is that polarity?
No, polarity is different. Well, first of all, are there any questions on Vibration?
No.
Yuli?
Just thinking right now. No question yet.
Okay. All right. So now he mentioned polarity. Polarity is a pole, a positive end of the pole, a negative end of the pole. A pole, in polarity, the doctrine of polarity is that so this is here, this is here. In polarity, everything has poles. And the measure, and it's going, it also it ties in with the rhythm. The measure of the swing of this to one pole is going to be the measure of the swing to the other.
Like a pendulum.
The pendulum. So it's going to swing from one pole to the next. That's law. Just like the seasons. And you'll get what? Spring, summer, winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall, winter. It goes back and forth with that pole. Rhythm is how it compensates, at what rate it will go. The polarity always happens. It goes from one pole and back to the next, and then back to the next, and back to the next. Question.
All right, so going back, like you say, like a pendulum, right?
Yes.
So how does the Earth know when it's spring and summer, and when, like how?
Okay, so
You don't got to erase all that. Just
okay, all right, my visual self. All right, so
so it's when it rotates during those times of month, right? Because the Earth is closer to the sun.
all right, so forget about the months. All right, so now, in your mind, Son, imagine the sun, or I should say, Earth's sun. All right, so the question is, Son is asking about how does the Earth know when to go through spring, summer, fall, and winter. All right. So imagine the sun, or I should say Earth's sun. There's many suns. And it's this big ball of energy, hydrogen and helium. And then you got this little marble going around this big mass. Now, all of this sun's light and heat is being directed to this little marble.
Yeah.
You are not 90 degrees, but you're tilted 20 on an axis, 23-degree axis. And now, as you're this little marble and you're spinning, rotating on your own axis, and you're going around the sun. So now, if you are the Earth, the part that is in the sun's light at a certain time as it's moving will go closer to the sun and farther away.
Okay.
All right? So now, those times when it's getting closer is going into the spring and the summer.
So you're telling me that those times when we get closer, we go closer, but like when we
Distance.
so like when we get distance, you're telling me that when we're going around a certain part of the sun is colder than the other?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's
Distance.
only because of the distance.
Yeah.
It's only because
So
of the
you're
distance.
telling me that the loop is not like a circle, it's
not-
more like
it's
an
like-
oval.
it's like a-
exactly.
yeah.
It's elliptical.
Okay.
That is very true.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you know, solar eclipse, you know how that happened?
Because I close my eyes.
Okay.
I see them all day.
What,
All right.
what do you call that? The gravitational pull? Like the
Yeah. So yeah, we're all caught in the sun's gravity. It's like a rubber band. So when there was the explosion, I don't want to say Big Bang just yet. When there was an explosion, and this sun was forming, and the matter that it threw out was also forming, and then it snapped into a pattern, and then started rotating in that pattern. And that also happens throughout the boundless universe, not only just with the Milky Way. That's how things are born and die. It happens over and over and over and over again.
And the moon is slowly going away too. I've heard that.
The what?
The moon is slowly like inching away, right? Is that true?
I don't know, but I would imagine that to be true because they do know that in this universe, other star systems, other galaxies are moving farther away from each other. Let's do this.
Milky Way?
Yeah, Milky Way and other galaxies, they do know that these galaxies in our universe are starting to move farther away from each other. Now the mystery is that, let's just say they're moving at 5 miles per year away from each other. Now they're noticing that the farther away they get, the faster it's moving. So if this was moving away at 5 miles per whatever we said, now it's 10. And so they know that something, and they call it the Great Attractor, something is pulling these galaxies farther away. They don't know what it is. They just call it the Great Attractor. But let's get back to it. So that was 1 through 9. Let's go with Mr. Saeed Morkan.
What about the Zoom? Yeah, the Zoom people always get left out.
Yeah. 10 through 18.
10.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Make sure you good.
You see you?
Yes, good.
10. There are also thought waves. 11. Thought has tremendous power. 12. Everyone experiences it to some degree. 13. It could be used 1,000 times more effectively. 14. If one had a comprehensive understanding of the working of thought vibration. 15. The techniques from controlling them. 16. And the method of transmitting them to others at a distance. 17. Which is called telepathy, telepath. The path through the mind to mind, mental, is 18. One of your four higher senses.
Okay. Mr. Saeed Morkat, what is your synopsis of what you just read? Or what are your questions?
There are thoughts have waves, and as you mentioned earlier, it has a vibration. I'm assuming it's similar to all of our thoughts have waves, and it can be interpreted not only physically but also how people feel your energy.
Right. Any questions for Mr. Morkan?
It's not like a radio sending off signals, transmitting waves to another.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Mr. Saeed.
Thank you, Mr. Saeed.
It's absolutely my pleasure.
So there is something very important in here, number 17, which is called telepathy. So telepath, the path through the mind to mind, mental, is one of your four higher senses. Previously, in one of our meetings, we talked about the four higher senses. Do we remember what they were?
Telepath. Wasn't telekinesis.
Telepath, telekinesis.
No, it wasn't. It was
Intuition.
No.
I heard someone say one.
Intuition.
Yeah.
The other one is was it cognizant?
Cognitive?
No.
Conscious?
Conscious.
No.
Calisthenics.
Clairvoyance.
Damn, I got And the other one is power. Patience, practice,
Money, power, drugs.
Psychology.
No.
Somebody close.
Psychic.
Psychosis.
No.
Psychopath. No.
Right. Psychosomatic.
Psychometry.
Psychometry.
So we have been taught that we have five senses: see, hear, taste, smell, and feel. which are all a subset of touch, because sound must touch your eardrum and vibrate it in order for you to register sound. And light must go through your touch your eyes. So it's all a part of touch. But then there are 4 higher senses. Telepathy, that's me being able to communicate with you without use of words. Intuition,
Women have.
at a greater rate or a greater ability than men. And it's that the ability to know or sense what is going to happen just from that gut feeling. And that's because within your gut, there's a second brain. They call it a second brain. They do know that there are neurons around your solar plexus chakra, but neurons are only needed to process thoughts in your brain. So they're wondering, what are neurons doing in your solar plexus?
Okay.
That's why it's called a second brain. Clairvoyance is to see clearly. A lot of countries are experimenting with this now. They call it remote viewing, where they're teaching, like CIA, the KGB, the Mossad, they're trying to teach their agents how to do remote viewing, to be able to sit in this room and be able to tell what's going on in another room or at a farther distance using clairvoyance. And so they have exercises designed to foster that. And then there's psychometry. Psychometry is the ability to, if Son is holding that phone and he puts it down, then I can pick up his phone and see what he was thinking while he was holding that phone.
Touching an object, right? Touching an object
Right.
and knowing that person within that object.
Right. You see it already to some degree. For instance, Ahmed is sitting there. And if Ahmed had a dog, and let's say we clear out the room, and that dog went there, he would know Ahmed was there, even though Ahmed is left, because there's something that Ahmed still left there. And psychometry works the same way. When you handle or touch something, you're leaving an impression on that. And so we have to develop the sense to be able to take that and be able to read the sense that was left there.
So that's psychometry.
That's psychometry. Now, what Son wants is telekinesis.
Oh, I want to move things.
He wants to move things.
He wants to be Jean Grey.
Yeah.
So somebody get on my nerve, like, what? I'm trying to be Charles.
But again,
I can do
anything,
that.
you can do it. Anything that
I know I
you
can do it.
can put
Professor
in your
X.
mind, you can do.
I'm bad.
You just have to figure out how to do it.
I'm going to figure it out.
And then teach
Kids,
us.
when people get on my nerves, like, what'd you say? There you go. Give me your money.
My mom is like that for some point. Yeah, she has that ability.
All right, so we need to read 19 through what? 27. Mr. Yulee, can you take us through 19 through 27? Sometime today, Mr. Yulee.
Christmas is coming. Turn to
Hurry up,
Santa Claus.
Junior. Hurry it up, Junior. I'm so glad.
Yulee, you're on mute, yeah.
Yeah, my bad. 19. By overstanding and realizing the powers of the mind. 20. One can see distant objects. 21. Hear distant sounds. 22. Send messages to any part of the universe. 23. Heal people thousands of miles away. 24. And move to distant places in no time. 25.
Recording in progress.
There is no 25. There is no limit to the power of the mind. 26. Consider when flowing loosely over the wide area. 27. Every force in nature moves slowly with less power than if gathered in one mass and directed through a signal restricted outlet.
Okay, Mr. Yulee, what is your synopsis of what you've just read?
How strong and powerful the mind is, and how we can use it in so many other ways.
All right, for instance, look at 20 through 23 and tell me your thoughts.
'20 to 23. Okay, 21 can see this. It's like that vibration you were talking about. That like we can, or like, what is it? You just said it's that that 5 things that they tell us, like sound and then hearing and smelling and touch. I feel like it has something to do with that.
Okay. Questions to you.
Has he ever experienced it?
Ask him.
Yo, Yuli, have you ever experienced that?
You experienced what?
The power of the mind.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, like I can read others, so I feel like I have in a way. I don't know.
Really?
I
feel like
Okay. All right. So, thank you, Mr. Yuli. All right. So, what is important, but one thing I want to bring your attention to is through using the power of the mind, you can see distant objects, you can hear distant sounds, and 22, you can send messages to any part of the universe. You can send messages to any part of the universe. Right, you'd say, Yuli?
Wait, what you say, Daddy?
Yeah. You can send messages to any part of the universe. That's 22. And 23 is heal people thousands of miles away.
This is
Our mind, right?
This is through your mind. Because
So is it kind of like prayer in a way? So like, if you, what does like prayer have to do when you like pray for others?
very good question. All right.
miles away.
Right. Okay. Let me go with string theory first. String theory is, they're starting to do this Big Bang, and then the whole theory was that there was this Big Bang, in that it started the universe, and that the combination of these elements somehow came together and started life. Mm-hmm. Now they're starting to get away from that and move towards string theory. To sum up string theory, it's related to everything being connected and one thing coming from a former thing. What do I mean? In nature, we talked about how you have a mother, you have a father, and then there's you. Your mother also has a mother and a father, then there's her. Your father also has a mother and a father, then there's him. And then that mother also has a mother and a father, and there's them. That repeats throughout. That is how nature works. Even if I say the earth has a mother and a father. There's the Big Bang, right? Well, all right, the Big Bang. The Big Bang also has a, right, that's the part that this is getting to. And what they used to teach in school, the Big Bang, that would not have been true. But it wasn't until their telescopes were able to see that these bodies in heaven, or the skies, they're starting to see this thing that looks like a web that's connecting everything. And they're starting to see that all things are connected, as spiritualists have been saying for years, that we're all connected. Now, stay with me. It's like a highway on which we're all connected. If I got a highway that goes to Saeed, Saeed has a road that goes to Tito, Tito has a road that goes to San, San has a road that goes to Trevin, Trevin has a highway that comes to me, and then we have this in the middle. We'll put Yulee, and all of our roads are connected to Yulee. So if I want to go to see San, I might travel this road to Yulee's and then travel this road to San, or I could go around to Trevin and then come around to San, because it's all connected. This is the same thing on the mental plane. Your thoughts are connected to everyone and everything. So first is to be cognizant, aware that you can send a message to any part of the universe. Okay. Just as we were talking about that highway that connects us.
What happens if the highway goes off course and opens up another parallel universe? Other multi-dimensions in it, or all that is the same?
No, that is a very good question. Because so now, if we read what it... Go ahead, Yulee, what did you say?
I said you call that a detour.
Right. Yeah, there we go. Right. No, that's excellent.
It's in a different universe, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to what that verse read. Read that verse. I think it was 24.
24 says...
Send a message.
24?
22.
22 says, send message to any half of the universe.
Any part of the universe. All right, so now San is saying, well, what about another universe? Yeah. Because the highway that we were talking about, from me to Saeed to Tito to San to Trevin, you weren't here. Oh man, so we get out of you.
You're in the bump in the road now. I kind of tell what it is.
Right. So, what did you say?
You can send prayers to anywhere you want. Like you can travel anywhere.
All right, so we're gonna get to that. Let me just put this
multiverse, right? The mom and dad.
Yes, Son, you're right on the money. Now, this is our universe. Our universe is expanding, but now they're starting to see. They can see. They have satellites that can look at what they call the edge of our universe, and they don't know what's beyond that edge because we just don't have the tools powerful enough to see beyond it. Mm-hmm. However, now this string theory is giving them something else to think about. Is that there wasn't this Big Bang and everything just started, but that these Big Bangs, plural, are birthing other systems, and that our universe is only one of, well, it goes like this. I don't want to read it.
Because I listened to, who's that doctor, the Asian guy, who talked about string theory.
All right,
the water? No, it's not.
All right, so we have the universe, which is uni, is what?
One.
Right.
One of those Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Then you have,
which is 2.
Dualverse, which is 2. Then you have triverse, which is what?
3.
And then you start getting into the,
which is many.
So,
and it's all a part of the
omni, which is there's no
omniverse.
So
there's no limit.
Wait, but before you get to your question, now in looking at what we talked about, mom, dad, child, they are starting to land into the thought that universes can merge, like cells can merge to form a dualverse, and that universes can split like cells split and form 2 different universes. Now, because there is no limit, there's no wall in space, no ceiling in space, they're saying that all of these possibilities exist, meaning there's multiple Saeeds in these different, not only universes, but different dimensions. And every possible permutation of a Saeed exists. The broke and poor and wino Saeed, as well as the rich and successful and powerful Saeed.
Four fingers.
Don't get it twisted. I'm the best version, though.
And the four finger Saeed, right?
The Saeed
Looks
verse.
weird.
The Saeed verse.
Right. And this is why you see movies coming out like
Spider-Man.
Right.
yes.
So,
And they're talking about the multiverse.
so if
Because
that's
You gotta go watch that.
right.
yeah.
You should go watch that.
So if that's true, right? Let's go back to when my Dr. New York are there different? Are they the same type of like the Anunnaki were here? Are they all in the universe, or are there different names for them in these dual verse, triverse, multiverse? Right? Is there what would be Iki and Leo in all those universe, or would be
Three different names in other universes. I see what I understand what you're saying.
What do you say there would be different names?
Like in this universe, we have know him as Enki. The next universe, they may know him as a different name. And the other universe name a different name.
what do you all say?
Like
the oversoul. All right, the oversoul. I don't want to say it's the same, but you're linked. So I think I don't know if we talked about it here. Maybe I talked about it personally with Saeed. I'm not sure. But now, follow me on this. Since Dr. York or Panabab Yanun is saying you can send a message to any part of the universe, and then I'll get to prayer in a minute. And our universes are all connected. Okay? Dual verse, triverse, multiverse, it's all a part of the omniverse. So these other realities where there's another Son in these different realities, can Son here contact the Son there? And the answer is yes. Yeah. Now, what Panabab Yanun has recently taught is that when you have a dream and you wake up and you immediately forget the dream, that's because it wasn't yours. It was the other you, or I should say another you, that had the dream that you were sharing. Now, the ones you do remember are your dreams. And he went on to say that you can actually borrow something from the other you to help you in this life. This goes back to when I was talking about the farmer with the horse. And he only wanted a faster horse because he didn't realize that there was material in it on the earth that he could use to fashion a car or a train or a plane. Now, the Son here, it goes through certain situations, whether good or bad, only because the Son here has not yet realized that he can connect with the Son in other universes, borrow something from them to make his or her life better, not just of anybody. Now, part of that is controlling your dreams, lucid dreaming and astral travel. Lucid dreaming is when you dream and you wake up and you can go back to sleep and continue that same dream. That's lucid dreaming and control it.
Oh wow! So if my other person don't know how to move objects, then I'm like, hey, teach me that.
That is true. Well, you keep saying that, but I think for you, I'm looking at what is it that you really want.
I just want to move objects.
Why?
Because it's cool.
You move an object, and then what?
Did I?
All right, Yuli, go ahead.
Wait, if we're in a dream and then like you said, we wake up but we can't control it. You said.
All right, no, okay, let me go back. A lucid dream is when you dream, and let's say you're dreaming, and then you get up and you go to the bathroom, and then you come back and you go to sleep. Lucid dreaming is you go through that same thing. You dream, you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you come back and go to sleep, and you pick up on that same dream where you left off, and you control it. That's when you get into your dream and you say, okay, now I'm dreaming, and you start to do whatever you want in your dream. That's lucid dreaming. First, have you ever had that experience where you were in your dream and you knew you were dreaming?
definitely. It's kind of like, or just yeah, definitely.
That's lucid dreaming. When you're in your dream and you realize I'm dreaming. It's very important because once you're in your dream and you know that you're dreaming, you can go anywhere and get answers to anything. This is what Tesla used to do. Tesla was a master at it, as were some other people. And Tesla, what he could actually see before he fashioned a thing, he could see the thing like this in every detail, just through his mind working with it, and then just go right off and build it.
So wouldn't that
Like
be
that's
thinking
like
of
that with Elon
daydreaming?
Musk.
Wait, one second.
Nikola Tesla.
Like that's like the actual car Tesla.
Oh, okay, right. No, Nikola Tesla.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. He named it after Tesla because Tesla was,
He was
to
the
me,
first-
one of the most brilliant mind that was in
Second.
America. Who do you think is
He was
first?
the one that
Leonardo da Vinci.
I don't think. He was in America. He was in
Nikola
Europe.
Tesla was the one that found out saying that we can use cell phones way back then, and I think the government didn't want to hear that.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll come to Tesla. There
Invented
was another
Wi-Fi.
question you had at the same time that Sonic.
No, so when you said when Tesla saw the thing, right? Wouldn't that be considered daydreaming?
All right. So now, there was more to Tesla than that. Tesla would also see these things in his dreams, and this is we're talking about the doctrine of breathing was the last one of Tahuti's doctrine, and he was able to breathe. What does that mean? He was able to see it in his mind, in his dream. That's the inhale. And not only that, he was able to wake up, bring it out, and then make it. That's the exhale.
Okay.
And now I was going to say something else, going back to Tesla. Not the Tesla car, but he named it. He named his company after the brilliance of Tesla. What Panabab Noon has taught us is that Tesla was not originally from here, or his spirit, his soul self was actually from Serbia. Well, he was born in Serbia, but Dr. Yerk is saying he was actually his soul, or his etheric being is from Venus. Him, the guy that does Unlimited Power, Anthony Robbins, the one that does Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard. There was another guy named Val Thor who met with Nixon, if I'm not mistaken. These were people from, he called them Venerians, people from Venus. Now, also about Tesla, this is a tangent. Nikola Tesla had built what he called what did he call it? I forgot what he called it, but he claimed it could split the earth. He came up with so many different inventions and so many different patents, and he was involved in what was called the Philadelphia experiment. You might have seen it on TV. The Philadelphia experiment was USS Eldridge during World War II, when the United States wanted to somehow make battleships invisible to radar. They brought in some advanced mind. They pulled people from Germany to help work on this project. Tesla was from Serbia, and his brother, Lee Skalno, was also from Serbia to help with this project. Tesla was able to make the shield, this invisible shield, around the ship. But there was a problem. When they put this magnetic field around the USS Eldridge with people on board, let me just take you through the experiment. They put the Navy on board, the Navy personnel, and then they had these big generators to generate an electromagnetic field around this ship, the same that the stealth bomber uses, so that it wouldn't appear on radar. But at that time, they didn't have a computer, so they had to guess at how to sync up. It was 3 different ships, and the Eldridge was in the middle, and they connected them through generators. This was in the Philadelphia harbor. When they threw the switch, the ship disappeared and appeared, I want to say, it was either New York Harbor or Norfolk. I think it was New York Harbor.
Yeah, New York.
It was in New York. And then reappeared back in Philadelphia. When they went on board the ship, they found the Navy crew embedded with the metal of the ship. Some of them were still alive. Most of them were dead. Like you would see a head sticking up out of the metal, saying "kill me" or whatever, because they were embedded with the ship.
Mm-hmm.
2 people, and that the ship fell through time. And you can I want you to research this. Don't take my word for it. I want you to look up the Philadelphia experiment. There was 2 people, Bilek and Duncan, if I think their names were, and they jumped overboard when the ship was going through this. When they jumped overboard, they expected to land in the water, and they didn't land in the water. They landed in New York in 1983, from 1943 to 1983. And when they landed in 1983, the scientists who were in the 1943 experiment were there waiting on them. And one of them phased out of existence because he was due to get married in 1943 on that day, but the Navy told him they needed him for duty, and he had to go, and he didn't want to go. And so when he fell into 1983, he was still emotionally attached to his fiancée in 1943 and could not exist within the 1983 time because his zero time reference was still back there. Now, all of this, I say, you can send messages to any part of the universe, and the only thing that is holding us back is we're locking ourselves, we're locking our minds in what we call 2021. And then we're letting other people tell us what are going to be the new inventions of 2022, 2023, 2024, and we're just along for the ride, like sheep. So who is the shepherd that is guiding us, our thoughts, that we think we can't do these things? Yeah, we're the sheep, but somebody is keeping us dumbed down.
Ourselves?
Well, partly, but it's also bigger than that. Now let me go into music.
The frequency.
And where are you going to the frequency? Some time ago, Saeed was talking about how when you go to EDM concerts and if something happens, people ask you, "Hey man, are you all right?" and blah, that's the type of atmosphere. Conversely, when we look at what happened at the Travis Scott, what's his name? Travis Scott? Yeah, Travis Scott tragedy.
World.
What was that?
Astro World.
Yeah, Astroworld. Some rapper that the kids listen to today. Yeah. Wait, what? Yeah. So, and then when you look at these hip hop concerts, there's always somebody brings a gun. And it's always something. Now, what is happening with the music? And people say, "Well, it's not the music. It's people." Blah blah blah.
Subliminal messages.
Yeah, very close. What's happening is not really the subliminal message in the music, but the frequency of the music itself. What is happening is music was today is played at A440, and the Rockefeller Foundation changed the standard of music. I think back in the 1930s, 1935, if I'm not mistaken, because they found out that at this frequency of music, we can control your behavior. Hitler used it I should say his scientists used it in their experiments to control the Nazis. When the U.S. found out about it, they also wanted to develop that type of sound manipulation. And that's why they changed it, so that all the music that you're hearing today has that frequency, and it is open to putting suggestions in that music. So you're listening to that music and you're getting agitated and you don't know why. And then long after that music is stopped, that agitation is still in you. And then, go ahead.
It's like when we were watching YouTube when the guy says, "Have you noticed that when you put music on a radio station and you go away from the tower, that static happens, and when you hear that static, you get more agitated, you can even get sick, but you still want to hear that music because that's your favorite song. But as you go away from the tower, it gets staticky until you get so angry and so frustrated that you just shut it off. But it's still lingering that agitation." That's part of an example.
Right.
Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So a lot of it isn't just the subliminal message of the music, but it's the frequency and tone of the music that is causing your internal vibrations to vibrate against each other. And so then when you add the lyrics on top of it, especially in hip hop, it's it's the women are bees and this and that, and it's just a cascading effect.
Wow, yeah, because music is a very, very, very powerful tool. Yeah, it's just like drugs. Like it's a mood altering. It is, yeah.
All right, so where were we? Time check.
It's 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
Oh, 12 o'clock. All right, so
We stopped
well, first let me go with questions. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a comment,
Good.
and that's to add to prayer.
Oh, I understand you come back to prayer.
Okay, yeah, finish with him and I'll
Yeah. All right, so we were talking about you can send messages to any part of the universe. Now, prayer. Prayer is the art of talking without listening, and its converse or inverse is meditation, the art of listening without talking. In prayer, as we talked about, everything is connected. Every person is connected. All life is connected, whether it's a planet, whether it's water, whether it's stars, whether it's star systems, you are connected to all of it. Prayer is just a message that you send on your mental wire. Just like if I have a cord and I have a microphone and I can send my message through there, or just as we're doing now, I can talk to you and send the message. Prayer is the same way. The only difference is you're talking, you're sending out a vibration. But you have to know where you're sending it. A lot of times, like when I say, Mom, you get a picture of your mother. Or if I say, Dad, you get a picture of your father. And if I say, or if I say, Allah, you get no picture. That was done deliberately. This was part of a hajj, call it, a spell. It took away your power. If you knew, or if you or anybody knew back then that you could have a prayer, you could send it to any part of the universe, you could also communicate with yourself in another dimension, that would do away with. Because you would realize that that's you. All is in you, and you are in all. There's nothing that you can't do. Right. Now, on prayer, when you have to know to whom you're sending it, you have to have a receiver. If I'm just sending out, Son, can you bring me a bagel? It's not directed to Son. Son never gets it until I know I'm the sender. I'm going to send a message, and Son's going to receive it. And then Son receives it. He can send it back. It's a similar way. You have to know in your prayer to whom that wire is going. Now, your prayer is most powerful when it's going from you, right, ancestors, and above them are guardians that we call Natharu. Now, your ancestors are 30 in number because we're talking about your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and your great-great-grandparents. Let's just add that up. So there's Son,
Even though I don't have a picture in my mind of them.
Right, I'm
But they know
gonna
you.
come to that. Son has a mom and Son has a dad. They also have a mom, dad, and dad. His dad has a mom, dad. They have a mom and a dad.
It's so trippy to think about it. Like so many generations.
But hopefully, I'm blessed. I have a picture of them.
Really?
And I also, yeah. I could go back to my great grandparents on my mom's side.
Your pictures in.
Yeah.
Erase this out.
I need to get from my dad's side. I need to get some from my dad's side. Dad said it exists, but in my great grandparents.
It takes time. I want to be thorough so that you understand it. It's so true.
All I know is up to like let's say level 2. That's it. After that, I'm not.
Okay. All right. So if we take our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, and our great great grandparents, add that up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 on the mother's side, and 15 on the father's side. So you have 30 ancestors that you are able to commune with now. That's what we mean by ancestors. Now, if your mother and father are still living and all your grandparents, great-grandparents aren't, then that means you have how many ancestors?
Say it
If your mom and dad are living,
28.
yep, but everyone else is on the other side, then you have 28 ancestors that you can access. But if you got your mother and your father and your grandparents, that's minus 4 more, so you got 24. Now, what if you don't know? You've never seen your great-grandparents or your grandparents.
Or you were adopted.
Or you were adopted.
Right.
You talk to your guardians.
See?
You pray to your guardians.
No, you can still go to your ancestors because, as we talked about, everyone is connected. Importantly, there is your DNA, we call it DNA link. That DNA link links you through your DNA to your ancestors. That DNA of your ancestors and you and your ancestors, your DNA is in them. And you communicate through that DNA link. It's like an etheric link that you can still communicate etherically through that wire to your ancestors of the same DNA on the other side. This is most effective in between the hours, if I'm not mistaken, of 3 and 4 a.m. So if or when you are awakened at 3 or within this time frame, it would be best, I know it's hard, but it would be best get up, wash your face, especially with some cold water or just to wake you up and start speaking with your ancestors.
Do I have to be in a specific position, or I can just do it laying down?
No, you can do it laying down, but I would advise against that because it's just so easy to fall asleep. But if you force yourself to go to the bathroom, wash your face, and get up, you're going to be more alert.
What if you just slept at that time?
What?
What if you just slept at that time?
Then you should definitely do it. Because as Panabab Yanun taught us, it's like this. Here is you, Zentia. And here is, we'll call this the spiritual world.
I'm always. That's exactly what I was gonna add. I'm always. And he knows it. I will wake up 3
Now,
on the
yeah,
dot.
and all right, so this is your ancestors around this time, 4, are able to come down to a certain level, and at this time, you're able to ascend at a certain level. This is where you'll meet. Now, when you pray, your prayers should be deposited to your ancestors, if it's for you. If you want something for you, personally, speak to your ancestors.
Okay.
If there's something that you want to do for the world at large, more than yourself, regarding that's when you're speaking with your guardians. So again, if you want something for your own self, your prayer will go to your ancestors.
Okay.
If you want something to benefit, that you're going to do for the benefit of more than just yourself, then it's your guardians.
No question. And I can't add him because he's in a totally different level. Before him, I had a spiritual leader, and you know her. You know her because I talk about her all the time. And you said we are connected by DNA. But I truly believe that me and her, we're not connected by DNA, but because I had, let me explain, I had 2 mothers. I had my mother who bore me, and I had her. And since those 2 helped me when I was a baby, I had a connection with her. And she kind of was my spiritual leader at that time. And when she passed away, until this day, I still have constant dreams about her. I wake up around that time, and she tells me things that you don't believe that you keep talking to me. Wake up, and it's such and such time, and I will wake up, and it's exactly the same time that I seen the watch. And I say, how is that possible that I'm so deeply connected to her, and she's not connected? We're not DNA, but we had this connection even in life, and now in the other side.
Right. So I can't say that you're not connected.
Mm-hmm.
I can only say I'm like an XO, like all the shit when the captain says 3 degrees down bubble, then the XO says 3 degrees down bubble.
Right.
I'm an XO.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask that specific question to him. But as his XO, I can just tell you that your DNA link to those of your DNA, like your grandfather, exists. It's there. Yeah.
Okay.
Not if you want to talk to him, but you know.
Yeah. No, he actually more talks to me than that.
So that was his question on prayer. Did I answer your question? Yeah. All right, then you had some time. All right. So, does anybody have any other questions or comments?
Are we all connected?
Oh, no, I do have a comment. I do have
We'll go back to his. Yes, we are all connected.
And I'm going to piggyback on that too. Why? Saying on that same woman, and my mother's listening, she's watching, she can attest to this. She was such a powerful lady that we went to her when we had problems. You know, she was like a guide. She wouldn't say she was like this higher being, but she was a guide. She had we really we could give you proof. She has this ability that not only prayer, but the power of thought. If we were sick, and when she was like focused and into it, we will heal like 5 or 10 minutes. Or if we had some anxiety, like when she was in her, because she was a spiritual, she was a spirit. That's how she claimed her title. 5 minutes, the anxiety will be gone. If we were angry, if she was positive, but it was just the strong energy that she transmitted, this powerful of thought, and this, I don't want to say faith because you explained what faith is, but this intention was so powerful that a room of people could be surrounded by her, and in less than 5 minutes, we feel that energy. So when you say healing, you can heal people from a distance. She she was a perfect example of having that ability.
Okay. Questions or comments? All right, so we're already over time. Thank you all for attending. And we'll meet next week, same time, same channel.
Same back time, same back channel.